Good evening, Wizards, and welcome to episode 12 of Wizard Wednesdays. Now, we have a crucial and very interesting point in the market and a pretty interesting prior week to recap on before we can progress with the remainder of this video. So, what we're looking at right now is CoinMarketCap. Yet again, another day in the green. Everything's looking good, everything's looking positive. There's one thing that's different on the current coin market cap that you may have noticed. Despite all of the green and positivity we've seen over the past few weeks, there's one key indicator I've been paying special attention to, which is the BTC dominance now officially back below 56% after spending the majority of the past week at the 56.5 to 56.8% level. It's now dropping below the 56% mark. And bearing in mind, as we first began to really propel higher, we have slowly but surely seen a decrease from around 60% down to the current midpoint from 50 to 60 of around 55%. So I am taking this into consideration as a sign that the bullish momentum could slowly and surely be slowing down. The reason being is we know the majority of this volume has actually come from USDT. Of course, with BitMEX and the likes of futures or spot trading, whatever is occurring on BitMEX has been the biggest source of the pump and dumps. We've seen Binance take a significant hit down from the top 10 all the way down to 21st in positioning. So what you've really been seeing is USDT just being printed in the absolute masses, just pumping the market higher and higher. One thing that I've been paying special attention to as well is the Google search trends of BTC, crypto, Ethereum, XRP. It's nowhere near the same volumes that we saw of May 2017 onwards, where the bull run really started to kick off. This signifies to me we are not actually seeing speculative retail capital right now. This is not your average postman, milkman, builder, plumber going in and simply trying to buy and catch on to the new hype or bubble. This is very different. With a lack of those corresponding individuals in the market, what we're looking at right now is a very clear indicator of market manipulation. Retail, in terms of, I would say, institutional capital, retail has been pushed to the side. We're looking at institutions, we are looking at Wall Street in particular, and many of these other powerhouses, and of course the whales themselves controlling price significantly. So looking at all of this and taking this into consideration, where are we currently standing in the market? What's happened to my bearish bias? Am I still bearish? Am I still this? Am I still that? I'm going to cover all of this in pretty much depth now. So what we're looking at on a weekly perspective is where I'll start off. We had a very interesting rally up, and I'm finally confident to begin identifying longs upon the breakout of 8,500. Now there's two crucial things to look out for here, because not only has 8,500 been broken, we've actually seen a pullback. So we had the trade that didn't work out to plan the other day. We had this one here. Luckily, we had our stop losses in profit before any counteractive movement. We blew through the roof. Now, my key level, everything I've been saying, if we broke and we counteracted any of this downside momentum, and completely understandably I was actually shifting towards a bearish bias as I was anticipating a reversal back down to the $6,000 region. We're talking from 7k back down to 6, and then back down to around 4,600 at its absolute peak, and potentially from there we can counteract whether we are going to be looking for, the original plan was to see if we would be counteracting a movement potentially down to these regions here. So again, around 4,200, 4,600 around here. I still believe, as long as I'll get to in a minute, this level maintains, you will be seeing a 30 to 40% correction. And of course, if we start nearing $10,000, we'll be seeing a 60% correction before continuing higher, which would then validate us to confirm whether or not this will be a bull run. As you can see, preempted Fibonacci levels aligning perfectly with prior levels of support and resistance as well. I do believe if we do see this breakout, it's going to become short-lived. And the reason being is, kick-starting from here first. Again, taking these all into consideration, actually, let's ignore the downside for now. I'll get to that after as a counterpoint, because for now, the main focus is bullish, and we have clearly confirmed that with the 8,200 breakout, which was my final confirmation level. It got wiped out, as you can see here. And as you may have seen on Telegram or on Twitter, we had the $8,500 level marked up. Again, crucial region that was broken. Upon pulling back, we've retested twice now, which does lead me to believe we are going to see that next leg higher to $9,200 and then progressively push that little bit further towards 9,600. Going over to the 4-hour time frame already, I've already called the long positions in Telegram and Twitter. We've seen the pullback, we've seen descending, counter trend looking to break. Happened here. Happened here. Again, just rough, but I'm just giving you a little ideology into what's going on. Happened here, broken, 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 looking to break right now. This thing could absolutely fly straight towards the $9,200 region. And again, covered it here already. BTC blasting right off on schedule. Remember, $9,000, $9,200 is our main focus and area of stability before progressing towards 9,600. So again, covered some of the predictions and the callbacks levels as well. But for now, the main focus for me is this right here. Looking at this prior candle, it seems like a false attempt to reject and reverse. And I do believe this is going to blow through the roof straight to this region. So the reason why I'm actually anticipating this upside target now is I do believe after having such a consecutive amount of weeks in the bullish, people are starting to forget that we can pull back at any given moment. And I do believe once you start nearing, this is my whole ideology here, once you start nearing that $10,000 mark, the psychology of the market changes. This is a very secure number and it's a very big round number. So when you start seeing BTC nearing all-time highs of $10,000, put it this way, think of this as an average person. You've missed the initial boat, you didn't want to invest in it anymore, you thought Bitcoin's going to die, and you start seeing headlines, BTC nearing $10,000, BTC at 10K next, expert analyst predicts $100,000. This could very well be, yet again, the pushing point of what could be another reversal in the market and pushing us down. Now, what I'm trying to get at here is not a huge reversal and the market goes bearish forever and we die. What I'm looking at is, again, trying to draw these channels here, just make this a bit clearer. What I'm looking at right now is a market pushing up, the huge euphoria, the huge insanity. The retail traders start jumping back in. We get to the peak of euphoria again around this region here, potentially even spiking $10,000 before pulling back. However, I do believe this is going to be short-lived, and even if we see around $8,000 to $7,000, it should at least be sufficient. Once we can see, especially for long-term investment purposes, once we can see a sufficient pullback, by all means I'm ready to go all in and start going and heading for that move. What I am saying in the meantime though is we have an excellent opportunity here to catch some longs up to $9,600, because there's two ways this is going to work out. If we do want to see these downside targets come into play, and guys, for the majority of this Wizard Wednesdays, my focus will be on the XRP and BTC pairs. This is now going to become more of a speciality, more of a focus. I was doing this in the beginning, and I'm going to go back and make sure I'm doing the same thing now, because it not only keeps it clear and simple, but you can use this in accordance with any of the altcoins you're using to gain an overall bias on the market. So my point here is, I believe by the end of the week, we could be seeing this push all the way up to $9,600. And that will then make it, I don't even want to count how many weeks that is of green candles, but you just know, even during a bullish run up, there is going to be a significant pullback. So for the meantime, now that we're in this current bullish cycle, a big thing to mention as well is we are not in a bull run. We are in a bullish phase or a bullish medium-term trend. You cannot consider this a bull run because it has not considered or broken through these levels yet. Yes, we have broken through. We have now confirmed further bullish upside to come, but we cannot fall victim to the mentality and mindset that it's just going to go up forever. We need to, even these healthy pullbacks here, they are very healthy to see, because if this just kept going up here, the pullback would be more significant. So when we're looking at these downside targets, let's just say we do project these. These for me are only going to occur. I've actually disregarded all of these now. These are only going to become a consideration once we see $9,600 to $10,000 and these levels maintain. Realistically, if we start breaking through here, then there is no point even wondering about a pullback down to these levels. At worst case scenario, you'd be looking at around 30%, dropping down to around 7 to 8K, pulling and retesting around the $8,300 region as well, before pulling and exceeding to around $14,000. So the Fibonacci is in play here. If we were to see in the event of a pullback, I would be looking at a simple ride all the way back up to $14,000 and beyond as we shift into 2020. But I do believe, regardless, one of the first real pullbacks will be around this $14,000 region once we meet it. So disregarding this downside for now, just wanted to clear up what's happened in the past week, how I've shifted over to bullish. But again, it would be very ignorant for me to just completely disregard it, because then it would show I wasn't confident in my own analysis. So I'm just saying, in the event that we do begin seeing pullbacks, by all means corrections are still valid in every single level I gave you to the downside. So I refuse to disregard them or completely push them to the side, but for now the focus is on this. And as you can see, huge bullish candle. This is looking to just rip through straight to that upside target there, providing an excellent intraday move as well, because these things, when they're breaking out right now, huge movements, several hundreds of dollars to even thousands of dollars in a single given span of 2 hours or so. So pay special attention to this. You're seeing a huge amount of movement over here, and hopefully now following this movement, the moving average is slowly inclining higher as well. By the time this moving average starts nearing the $8,500 region, it's only going to be a further recipe for disaster when we just blow through the roof yet again. So we have to be cautious. Let's pay special attention to any potential threat zones. So we've tapped this level. I am remaining cautious of around $8,300 in the event of a sharp pullback. But overall, we are now riding this train up to 9,600. And the same can be said for XRP. My biggest concern here, and the reason being for why I believe $9,600 to 10K could be the final floor, is yet again we're nearing that weekly trend line. If you remember 2 Wizard Wednesdays ago, I believe it was now, I did state that we could be nearing this trend line if we failed to touch it the prior week. So 2 weeks later, we are now nearing this level once again. We have a huge area of space here that's left untested. This hasn't closed green, which does signify this does need to be fulfilled at some point in time. Whether that could be in the next week or two in a very sharp movement, I am still very cautious of this 0.3636 cents floor. It's just lingering there. It's been tested once, and I do believe, despite how this candle may end, we could be seeing that region at some point. But again, the focus for me right now on XRP, this wick here, huge level of resistance, although right now the ascending wicks we've broken through our resistance level, taps twice the support and rocketed higher. I do believe this is going to take us with our next leg to around 48.8 cents, so 0.488, which also correlates nicely with around 49 cents and the trend line here. So considering we've now neared this trend line, it's now the second attempt to reach this region. I do believe we are now finally going to meet this level around here. This, should it break, so here's another theory, something I've covered on Twitter today. Once we start nearing this level here, let's just say we close below, then that would confirm for me the move to around $9,600 as well. A quick blow to the roof, 9,200, peaking a little higher at around 9,600 would correlate with a move of this being $9,200 and $9,600 being 0.53, potentially even peaking at around 60 cents, which I do believe could occur. In the event that we see 53 cents broken, which is one of my final real upside targets for here, I do believe this bullish momentum will peak at around 68 cents. Plotting this region here, 68 cents for me would be where we see this current bullish phase of the market peak if we begin seeing a breakout of these levels. But for now, I think the real correlations for me are if BTC starts stalling around these regions, and then we see a correlation of this trend line here, it could very well just lead us back down to the yearly lows. So the only way I'm considering yearly lows coming back into play around the low 30 cents region. And of course, for this instance of BTC, we are looking at around anywhere from 6 to 4K. We will mention that as it gets closer to the time, should it do so. Then by all means, we can start putting those factors back onto the table. But for now, looking at this, it's just needing to break out. Huge amount of wicks to the downside, which is why I'm saying be cautious, because when you see many wicks accumulate in one specific region, it just increases the likelihood of seeing further spikes towards that zone. But again, all focus is going back on these weeklies and dailies. The only difference is now, because we're seeing clearer pictures from the market, we can actually capture and provide more intraday trades or even swing trades for all of you. Whereas before, I would simply be gambling if I was to give you an opportunity right now around these regions. So just be cautious. The only thing that's concerning me as well is the validity and the way price is holding up very well around $8,800. But judging from downside momentum, pushing a few spikes aside, this should be a fairly simple breakout soon. Hopefully, we can actually get a rare retest where we can then confirm an even better entry for a long. Again, you rarely see these break straight through like in this instance here. However, in most circumstances they break, they at least hold or retest a little bit, and then they blow straight through the roof. So judging from the current price action on this one, we may be seeing a slight similarity in how this unfolds. But XRP, the second focus, is the daily as well. The daily for me right now, as long as these wicks here are broken, especially when you look at the correlation of this level here, broken at last, retested, now seeing some consolidation here as well, but the wicks are slowly pushing higher. And if you're using the visual theory I told you before, it's pushing higher. This was the wall, now the wall's been pushed up here. How do we know the next wall will not be pushed up there and just continuously tested higher? We have to remember it's also Wednesday, so this current weekly candle has already seen an upside push. It's then counteracted by going down. Bearing in mind the overall trend right now is, of course, not long term, we're still bearish. Medium term, we are now of course bullish. Because it's following in line with the current trend, we have to pay special attention. The wick has already fulfilled a potential pullback of the prior weekly candle's body. Notice it's happened here and here and here and here and here as well. It's been happening continuously. That's one thing I mentioned upon the initial breakout of this level. Be cautious of those breakouts. And now that we've confirmed the bearish trend is currently out of picture, this confirms for me now the next legs to 9,200 and of course 9.6. But we have to really gauge how price will be reacting around these regions. And if you are entering those long positions, it still means upon a breakout of 9,200 or a breakout of 9.6, those stop losses should be getting pushed higher every single time, if not close off a portion of your profits. I do believe with the way things are going for all of us right now, we have a nice easy upside trade on our hands. And again, I just think this is going to rocket now. Looking at how it is descending, pullback. These are traps, continuous traps. And to be honest with you, the short opportunity we had here looked very textbook. It looked very good. The 4 hour in particular, we had the lower highs forming, we had pushes to the downside. We were seeing a very nice setup forming. The only thing was the inverse head and shoulders, which in the beginning I completely disregarded due to the current market trends, etc. I know an inverse head and shoulders during a bullish trend can usually be a fairly bullish sign, but when you're factoring in other factors, it unfortunately did not work out. So simply we move on, recalculate. I think in the prior few weeks, trying to catch a potential short was wise in the beginning until the market finally broke my key level. I was more than willing to stick to that bias until I saw my regions broken, which is why I applied so much significance to 8,200. So when I said I'm literally not entering any long positions until I see 8.2 broken, now I've seen that level, I can confidently look at these regions and confirm even a short-term bias to the upside. What you're going to realize is the majority of people that you think caught the majority of moves that you missed are going to suffer a very unfortunate fate when the market does eventually pull back, as it always does. That's why I'm letting you know in advance, should we see these levels hold and you start seeing a drastic pullback anywhere down to even 6k, what you are seeing in the market right now, guys, is unrealized. Key word is unrealized profit and losses. People are holding physical coins, or they're margin trading. They're just riding a continuous ball because they're expecting it to go up forever. What you're realizing is what you are doing, and what I'm trying to show you, is by capturing even the small moves in the market, you are going to make more profit than the person that held all the way from here or there when they quickly realize upon one simple correction, which should be anywhere from 30 to 50, 60%, they are going to lose the majority of their investment, whether that's physical coins or margin. They'll get liquidated. They'll lose half their portfolio value. This is a consistent cycle in the market. So that's why sometimes it's better to actually await the opportunities that you may have missed, because they always come back around at some point. But in saying that, for now, let's just focus on these upside targets for now. They're moving in our favor. XRP as well, weekly time frame. Let's pay special focus to this trend line. A key break above. A big reversal warning sign for me would be a tap to around 53, 54 cents and then closing back below this level. That would be my only real concern, considering the huge wick here that's left unfulfilled. That's my only real caution, besides the trend line as well, but the moving average is slowly but surely climbing higher as well. So I am just giving you all of these levels here just to take into consideration, because in the event it happens, we'll be the only ones prepared. We've been preparing for a long time should it happen, so it's good to just keep it there and just let you know I haven't changed away from my bias whatsoever. I am now just shifting to bullish to continue with this upside trend as we've been covering. So overall, guys, that's pretty much it. I just want to keep this simple now in the Telegram in particular. So I mean more focus on BTC and XRP in particular. The reason being is the price action is more clearer instead of trying to focus and calculate an overall trend direction using the likes of Ether and LTC as well. I need to keep all focus because it will benefit all of you greatly as well. If you are margin trading, then the best cryptos to be margin trading are always going to be BTC and XRP. The majority of the day trading volume and liquidity is involved in XRP and BTC. So there's no need to overcomplicate it, because if they're all moving in synchronization anyway, there's no need to be trying crazy things like day trading Tron or EOS or any of this other crazy stuff that may be on BitMEX as well. Keep it simple, keep it calculated, and what you'll realize is the more you start focusing on these pairs now, and the more you start focusing more on BTC and XRP, anything you're looking at in the background, for example, Ether or Litecoin, they're going to move in similar directions anyway. However, by gauging the overall price action of BTC and XRP, especially where they're located, how the candlesticks are moving, you can disregard the LTC and Ether patterns because they're going to follow through on what happens here anyway. So looking at this now, hoping to see that blow through the roof, consolidation here, and from here is where we can really begin to identify upon a breakout. We're going straight through 10k. That's it. The next upside levels, guys. Let me just zoom out, give you some weekly targets here. I do believe it's going to be a exhaustion, and if I go down here, let's go and have a look. XRP, should it break my final target region of around 53 cents, we can begin to apply focus on 60 cents and 685, which I believe to be the absolute max this current rally can continue. Correlations, keyword here, current rally. We are in a current rally right now. As you can see, the pullback and retest of 8,500. Cover this on Twitter and Telegram. We tapped that level precisely, rocketed up to here. Trendline is a big level of caution for me. So as you can see, we could be tapping higher, but we need to be paying special attention to all of these levels we are seeing right here. And again, just to finish off as well, it would be ignorant for me to completely disregard my original projections of where pullbacks could occur, anywhere from $6,000 to $4,600. This is nothing to consider unless 9,600 causes a new medium-term trend reversal. Otherwise, it's pretty much up from here. So we're at a pretty good point in the market where no matter what happens now, we're either going to be catching huge bullish momentums or a huge correction before catching the whole new wave higher. Once we're down there, we can evaluate what could be happening next. But overall, let's keep our focus on these upside targets, because once they're met, we can jump straight on and remain continuously fluid with the market. So guys, I hope that's helped, and I hope this has summarized a new bias. And again, what I've been waiting for. I know we did miss this pump here, but I feel more confident simply waiting for a confirmation breakout before entering. As I said, a lot of the profits you may be seeing on social media or people catching trades, guys, the majority of these people are not even trading. Do not believe them. They are simply just using technical analysis, or they hold a very small portion of funds in a portfolio. Do not let it allow you to be misconceived or feel like you've missed out. These unrealized gains are soon going to be wiped out in one single correction. I'm not saying down to here, but even little pullbacks like this before continuing higher, or these kind of movements here, one single weekly candle could wipe out, like here. Good example here. Huge correction, went from 5,000 down to 3,000, even $1,000 or two. Of course, because of the significance of this level, we would be looking at movements down to 6k at least anyway. So even if you saw that pullback to 6k, anyone that you think you're looking at that you may have missed out from the trade and they're showing you profits, I guarantee you it takes one swift move and all of those unrealized gains become realized losses in a very quick instant. So stay level-headed, focus on the charts, focus on yourselves as always, and let the market unfold and paint its picture. We have been running up for a very long time now. We are very well overdue a correction, but by all means, there is a little bit of room left to push in this market. Key level broken. That for me is just a huge sign of this level as a main focus. And again, think about the euphoria, the $10,000 region, the retail investors start jumping in. Everyone goes crazy. Everyone starts getting back in. Guess what? They get back in and it dumps on them. The average Dow gets sucked in yet again. The market pulls all the way back down. And then by the end of 2019, we could very well be fluctuating back between these regions here, aiding up for a 2020 bull run, as I do believe 2020 is going to provide us magnificent returns. So again, I'm not a bear, I'm just being very logical here. And since what I've been doing since the whole trend, I've just been waiting for that pullback. And they can say, what they want. I do believe a pullback is going to occur at some point, but for now, remain focused because we're continuing so strong. Even if a pullback occurs for the time being, it could just be a quick test of here before continuing higher. So it really depends on how $9,600 holds. But for now, guys, that is it for this Wizard Wednesdays. I hope it's cleared up a lot about what's been going on in the past week or two. The bias has now shifted. We are now confident to saturate the move in the market. And again, if we do pull this off, for all you know, you will be catching the top of the market as well for a counteracting trade. Regardless of that, with all of this focus on BTC and XRP, it allows me now to provide more focus on those intraday up to long-term swings where we can gauge an overall momentum of the market as a collective simply by using two cryptocurrencies with the most traded volume. So guys, that's it for now. I'll be seeing you in the Telegram very soon, and hopefully we can get this move through by the end of the week to really have a nice end and make up for the lost trade the other day, or the break-even trade, depending on hopefully how you played it in line with the analysis in Telegram. So guys, see you in the Telegram and on Twitter very shortly.